as the list of Dragon Ball games continues to amass beyond our wildest imaginations. Some may not remember that there was once a time where a relatively small series of games captivated our hearts and blew our minds simultaneously. There was once a time where Dragon Ball Z Budokai saved Christmas. Being a kid in the 2000s was an experience like no other. Now, I'm sure every generation can say that about the decade they grew up in, but for us 90s and to some extent early 2000s kids, it was a truly magical time. And upon writing this script, I realized that in order for me to properly convey what made this era so special for so many of us, I had to go back to a time before the boom of online shopping and the accessibility of purchasing a new game with the click of a button. A time like Christmas of 2002. Growing up a Dragon Ball Z fan pre-Budokai was nothing short of a disappointment after a disappointment. Sure, we had Final Bout, the original Legacy of Goku, and that card game for the Game Boy Advance that I could never finish. But these were underwhelming at best, and at worst, these completely failed to captivate that feeling of what a Z-Warrior truly felt like. But that all changed one late November evening in the year of 2002. While watching my regularly scheduled Toonami programming, I saw a commercial for a game that would not only change, massively improve, and revolutionize the format of Dragon Ball Z games forever, but perhaps might be one of the many reasons why Dragon Ball is still so successful to this very day. And that game was Dragon Ball Z Budokai.
The deeper you go, the better the game gets. Just one of the many reasons it's the best Dragon Ball Z game ever. Dragon Ball Z Budokai. Go deeper. Rated T for teen.
The fighting, the graphics, the action. This is exactly what I wanted in a Dragon Ball game. And it was finally here. I could not take my eyes off of the screen and would watch television for countless hours just in the hope of seeing this advertisement one more time before bed. But imagine my dismay when the game I wanted so bad was on PS2 and I only had a PlayStation 1 at the time. And not only that, but it was rated T for teen, and I was only a mere 7-year-old child. But to my surprise, despite my youth, knowing what a massive fan of Dragon Ball I was, my parents ended up looking past this, and for Christmas that year, I received not only a PlayStation 2, but my very first T-rated game, Dragon Ball Z Budokai. Although compared to the plethora of titles that we have at our disposal these days, this game may not seem like much, but at the time, it was everything. The character roster, variations and modes that kept you busy well past the end of the campaign, and the graphics were visually stunning for the time period. What more could a Dragon Ball Z fan even hope for? Even to this day, nothing is better than those classic DBZ Budokai vibes to bring on the holiday season. I can vividly remember spending countless hours that Christmas with my friends and the neighboring kids, passing the controller back and forth, taking turns fighting the likes of Frieza and Perfect Cell, who were really challenging for us at the time. It could even take an entire day to beat them. Needless to say, at this time, I thought this must be the best Christmas that I'll ever have. Little did I know that this would be a yearly tradition for nearly my entire grade school career. And come the following Heisman, I got my first glimpse of Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2.
Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2 for the PlayStation 2 console. If you've got a favorite character, you've got to fight. Rated T for teen.
And in the were answered. And I got the games that I had so desperately begged for. One by one, I opened each present, hoping the next would be a PS2 game. Nothing beat getting a hard copy game under the tree. I'm talking back when they used to have full manuals inside of each box, and those big walkthrough books you could find only at GameStop or an FYE. The sad truth of the matter is, if you want to buy someone a game now for the holidays or for their birthday, you have to get them like a Steam gift card or a PlayStation/Xbox gift card. Which, don't get me wrong, is cool and a great gift, but still doesn't capture that same excitement. Taking off the bow, unwrapping that Christmas wrapper, and finding the game you had so desperately wanted all year. And needless to say, within my presence, I found two games that would shape the remainder of my childhood. Budokai 2 and, well, Super Mario Sunshine. It's a great game. Budokai 2 really felt like a Christmas game. Seriously, nothing beat booting up that game for the first time on Christmas morning and getting to that snow-covered stage with Muscle Tower in the background, fighting Frieza while sipping hot chocolate and eating cinnamon buns. Oh man, so much of Dragon Ball Z. Now, I know this game receives a lot of hate in comparison to the rest of the trilogy, but it is truly underrated. The improvements upon the graphics, the character roster, and even that board game layout, hopping around the map, passing the controller back and forth with your friends, each choosing a different character to play as, it truly felt like a spectacular way to spend your holiday season. Personally, I have the most memories and nostalgia with Budokai 2, and I also feel like out of the three, it is the best holiday game. But still, that's not to say we didn't save the best for last. Because that very next year, in 2004, I received the next and final Dragon Ball game to hold the Budokai title. Budokai 3.
Don't let the bruises fool you. Goku is just getting warmed up. Choose your opponent and launch the ultimate attack. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 for the PlayStation 2 computer entertainment system, rated T for teen.
It was certainly no coincidence that every game in the series would come out not only the same month, but almost always the same exact week of the year. As other franchises have done and still do, the games would release mid to late November, giving kids just enough time to tell their parents about the newest and best Budokai on the market, and giving the parents just enough time to buy it and finish their holiday shopping. But who the hell cares about sleazy marketing tactics when you have the best quality DBZ game dropping every year? Christmas 04 was once again a very special one. Unwrapping Budokai 3 with that sleek box art of Goku with just the plain black background. Sometimes simple is just so much better, and this always looked so clean to me. And the game itself is even better. The Dragon Ball games have arguably been rare in nature, as each sequel has been better than the last, continuously sticking to but improving upon the groundwork laid out in the previous entry. And this game in particular takes the best of Budokai 1 and the best of Budokai 2 and combines them together while adding so much. Imagine my excitement when I booted the game and I realized we get to fly around Earth and Namek as our heroes, something that I absolutely love to do in Legacy of Goku 2 and Buu's Fury. We got multiple stories like in Super Sonic Warriors and completely enhanced combat. I mean, as a kid, this combat blew my mind. Teleporting, beam clashes, Dragon Rush, and although not as drastic as the transition between Budokai 1 and 2, we still got some massively enhanced visuals here. My only question going into Budokai 3 was, where would they go from here? I mean, Budokai 2 covered the entire Dragon Ball Z story, and the answer we got wasn't only the GT characters that we expected, but tons of movie villains and side story content. Overall, Budokai 3 was just an all-around amazing game to conclude the Budokai trilogy with, and this is one I definitely recommend if you plan on spending your holiday season gaming this year. So, if you couldn't tell, the Budokai series holds a very special place in my heart. Having gotten each of these entries every year on Christmas in elementary school helped form my everlasting love for the series, my love for the holidays, and of course, my passion for gaming. And while memories do fade and the stories of my childhood become more and more difficult to tell, I'll still never forget the joy I felt playing Budokai on Christmas. Happy holidays. Peace.